this is clearly a different video to what I normally create. But I recently finished watching The Hobbit and got back to then starting Lord of the Rings again. And I couldn't believe how many people online absolutely hate The Hobbit. They act like it doesn't exist. Like that series is the trilogy. It's no good. I enjoyed it. And I was like, I don't know what they're watching. I think too many people, they get so caught up, I think, in the lore and sticking true to a book or something, and I just think it taints their judgment. Whereas some of us just enjoy what we're being delivered, and I enjoyed the whole process. I can't remember every little snippet now. I'm not a memory box like that in the sense of shows. I'm not like that affiliated with something to the point where, because you get some people, they're obsessed like crazy. They know every intricacy of the story and everything, and I think that's where they maybe get a bit caught up. For the rest of us, we enjoy what we're watching, and you get absorbed. I love Lord of the Rings, and by extension, The Hobbit. There's certain scenes that just pop into mind, and I just think that was fun. When they were going, I think it's the second movie. What's the second movie? Is it Smog? Yeah, I think it's Desolation of Smog. When they were in the barrels going down the river, that was really fun. The whole intricacy of all that. And then you got Legolas, and I can't remember the female one. I can't remember her name now. Is it begins with T? Is it Tiara or something? Um, what's not to like about that, And then when the dragons causing absolute mayhem, that's pretty cool. And even in the dwarfs kingdom, where it literally was under all the treasure and it's coming up, and I love that. And there was literally a huge section with Gollum as well. I love Gollum. Gollum should have his own film. I want a Gollum movie. I love Gollum. So and that wasn't like they just put Gollum in for a moment. They gave him at least, I think, 10, 15 minutes of entire Gollum section with Bilbo. I think it was Bilbo. And that takes me on to the other side. I think we get a natural affiliation with original cast members, because you do, especially when it's been a trilogy, gone on this epic journey. We all love the cast for that. Viggo Mortensen, we've got Sean Bean, you've got Elijah Wood. I'm gonna get lost with everyone's names now, but so Ian McKellen, Liv Tyler. I'm probably gonna miss someone. Even like the little hobbits, yeah. Anyway, so we grow up. You think, oh, I love all these characters, and then something new comes along, and even I was apprehensive. When they announced The Hobbit, I was like, no way am I watching that. I love Lord of the Rings. I'm keeping it as a trilogy. I'm not interested. Then they said it was Martin Freeman from The Office, the UK's The Office. He's done a few things, but I just thought, oh no, he's not. That's not going to be Frodo. That's not Frodo. No, not Frodo. In the head, I keep thinking Frodo because it's the main one. So, of course, you go into The Hobbit, it's Bilbo. So it was actually, I can't remember who played the character now, his name, but he was really good in Lord of the Rings. So, yeah, again, you got your backup already. And I've just watched it. Like I said, I was truly enjoying it. Even the very first movie. Is it Unexpected Journey? Yeah, Unexpected Journey, the first movie. And I was like, this is funny. They've got a little whimsical charm. And when I look online, some people, it's those little charming things, the little comedic timings. They don't like that. They think it diminishes the story and it's just for various audience. Well, I chuckled a couple of times and I thought that was funny. I like that. But again, I'm there to enjoy myself, But the unexpected, I started looking up while I was in, like, what are people's favourite, in rank it in order and all this. Some people actually liked it, An Unexpected Journey. They didn't like the second film. Some people liked the first two. They hated the third film. So I went into the third film, for instance, in The Hobbit, thinking, oh no, I don't know if I'm going to like. Everyone's saying it's crap. I don't know if I'm going to like it. It was epic. I don't know what people are watching. I really don't. But I was like, this is great. I loved it. The only issue I had with The Hobbit was Legolas's eyes. His eyes were crazy. It gave him an unnatural. I know he's like an elf, but it gave him an unnatural look in relation to the rest of the movie. Everything else, it just looked too different. It gave him a distant. It gave it like a very distant image. It made him look like he doesn't care about anything. I don't know. It just made him detached. That's what it felt like. I felt detached from Legolas. It felt strange. Like he's not nice at all. Whereas I didn't have that feeling in Lord of the Rings. So it's kind of strange. And then The Hobbit, of course, is before Lord of the Rings. So I don't know. But maybe that was the stance they were trying to get in The Hobbit. And then maybe he softens later. I don't really know. But I didn't like that side. That's the only thing. That's the only negative I had. But yeah, I thought a lot of it was pretty great. There was a character, I think, in the last film He was in the second one as well, where he's like a snivelling guy, you know, someone you don't trust. But it reminded me of, I think it's Life of Brian, Monty Python's Life of Brian, when he dresses as a woman. It just reminded me of that, because he was trying to get out of war. He was just trying to be like, act like he's vulnerable. It was pathetic. I don't want to give too much away. I guess most people have probably seen the films. But even after I watch all three, and I'm like that, sometimes, because the films go on so long, they all blend together for me. So I couldn't pick which film I've liked the most out of the three. You know, I absolutely loved An Unexpected Journey. I think a lot happens in that film. And I also, like, in comparison to Lord of the Rings, I think Lord of the Rings can go quite slow. Like, it is a hard watch sometimes. So it's like, you feel like, I better, you know, I've got to mentally prepare myself, because this is going to be a long session. Like, I love Lord of the Rings, but it's still a long session. And yet, I watched Unexpected Journey, and I looked at the time after, as it was closing. And I thought, I wonder how long that was. And it was like, I think it was a similar duration. And I thought, it didn't feel like that. It didn't feel long. Like, when I was watching it, I think the pacing was great. That, you know, you've gone there, then you've got him in the mountains, then you've got him in the cave. I'm pretty sure that all happened in the first film, which was, now I might be wrong, because it might be in the small one, but I don't think so. I think they reached the mountains in the first film. And I thought, well, that was incredible. So just to put it into perspective, really, look, I've got digital copies of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit on various stores online. I also have, bear in mind, so this is The Hobbit, for instance. I've got the DVDs and the Blu-rays. Theatrical releases. I only have the theatrical releases of Hobbit. I don't know if it's worth getting because again, everybody's so critical of The Hobbit. I thought there's no point getting extended editions. It's like, we'll see if we get on. But I've got on so much that I've got various copies of the same thing. Lord of the Rings, we've got the DVD collection here. These are theatrical releases, so it's just the theatre versions. And then we've also got the theatrical versions on Blu-ray as well. So it's the trilogy. So that is the same as that, but in Blu-ray. So of course, I've no need to watch that, except a lot of people probably fall on this. If you go digital only, you miss out on so many special features. You miss, like, behind the scenes, how it was made. Pretty cool. So now, I'm not a big fan of buying 4K discs, because they're too expensive in relation to Blu-ray. You can get an awful lot of Blu-ray films, and I think they look great anyway, and they sound great. I can build my collection a lot bigger for the price of one 4K box set. But this recently cost me, I think it's £18. I think I got it slightly cheaper. Amazon do discount codes. You just click it and it takes like £4 off or something. It did that. So I literally got that, I think, about £13 or something. Bargain as hell. But I am tempted to get the 4K release, because I do love Lord of the Rings. Even though I have 4K extended editions on Prime. So is it sensible? I don't know. But it'd be nice to have it. And it probably will at some point. So to put it into perspective, the hate people have towards The Hobbit is very similar to the hate some people gave, where the hell is it? Fellowship of the Ring, when it was in a cinema. So the very first film, before we had any of the other films, this just lands in the cinema. I'm quite excited about it. I've seen the trailers. I'm excited. This is fantasy. I wasn't familiar with the books. I've heard of The Hobbit through childhood. I never read it. So I wasn't in. I was coming in blind, you know. So as I approached the cinema, so I watched this at the cinema. It was awesome. But it's the same way the way people talk about The Hobbit, it could put a lot of people off the trilogy. That's the only reason I'm doing the video, really, because I think people should watch it. I think it's great. So I've gone to the cinema to watch this, and some guys come out of the cinema. I can't remember who I was going with, but they approached and they said, because I'm quite a talkative person anyway. They go, "Oh, what are you watching?" I said, "Oh, I'm going to watch Lord of the Rings." Lord of the Rings. He goes, "Oh, I wouldn't bother. I've just walked out of that." He said, "It's just talking, just dialogue the whole way through. It's not even worth it. It's rubbish. Don't waste your time." I thought, "Oh, I'm still going." See what I mean? I'm still going. I've got my own opinion. I fell in love with it. I thought, what's this guy watching? And again, I think it's one of them. If you don't like the beginning, you might ruin the whole thing for yourself just because you've got no patience. And yeah, I find it a bit of a hard watch. I love the Shire scenes and things, but I do find getting anywhere, like going to Bree and all that. I know some people probably love all the whole process. For me, some of it is a bit of a grind. But you caught up in it because we love the characters and we love the story. But yeah, anyway, so I loved it enough that I ended up, I don't know if I went to cinema to watch every single one. I'd like to think I did, but I can't even remember, in all honesty. I just so much remember watching the first one at cinema. And I just looked up, when did Lord of the Rings release, because I'm trying to remember it. It says 2001, and I thought that makes sense. That does make sense. So 2001, it come out. I don't know if it reached the UK in 2001, but we're going to go with 2001. Soon as I watched the film, I kid you not. This is how much I fell in love with Lord of the Rings. Even though I'm not like saying I know the intricacies of everything. I'm not that mental. I love people for it, but I'm not one of those people that would know every little detail. But I come out of the cinema watching Lord of the Rings. I went straight over to the shop. I kid you not. This is what I did because I was so in love with it. I went straight over to the shop and I bought the Lord of the Rings book set and The Hobbit. And I've had them ever since. 2001, I've had them. And guess what? Never read The Lord of the Rings. I've read The Hobbit, absolutely fell in love with it. Never read The Lord of the Rings. So I've had them all that time. But this is one of my favourite books, The Hobbit. I mean, I don't know if it's coming across there, how old the pages are. It still holds up beautiful. This I've read a few times. It is one of my favourite books ever. So, of course, they're making a Hobbit film. I'm thinking it's not going to live up to the book. It's definitely not going to live up to the films. But, you know, the interpretation in the film doesn't have to match the book, in my opinion. I'll still read the book and still enjoy it how I want to read it. But what I was thinking, there were certain things I was obviously remembering, but I'm not someone who remembers everything like that, all the little set pieces. Because if you read other things in the meantime, we see other things. I always just knew about the trolls. I remember him stumbling across trolls. And like in the film, they turn to stone and things. And I think, okay, I remember that. But beyond that, I couldn't remember anything, to be totally honest. So whether anything's been added or not, or missed out from the book, at this point, I got no idea. The argument some people made in The Hobbit was that Bilbo was the central figure in the first film. And then slowly but surely, he fades off. Like he's not the main character. And for some, I get that to a degree because The Hobbit, the whole thing is about Bilbo. The book is all about Bilbo. So from that point of view, I get it, but I didn't think they deviated too wildly. I think it's important to show different aspects and show what the other characters are doing. So while Bilbo's here, what's happening over there? I didn't feel that way at all. So I went into the final film. Like, for instance, people just said he doesn't even feature. So I thought, oh, that's going to be crap. I like Bilbo. I really started to like his character. Martin Freeman, I thought, played it beautiful. He is a bit one-dimensional in the sense that he's got vulnerabilities in his acting, but I think that's who he is and that's how he acts. So I think a lot of his films, he acts the same way. And I think that grinds on some people. But I felt his tendencies worked perfectly with Bilbo. Like, I thought it was great, you know. So I was like watching him and I thought that you can sense his vulnerability, which really made it captivating to me. Like I was thinking he's great. So I've got into the final film, which is the Battle of the Five Armies, thinking he ain't even going to be in it. Like, that's going to be weird. And he was in it. Okay, he didn't feature like heavily in it, but he was still in it at the bit parts where he needed to be. There was one part where I actually laughed, and I know again, some people maybe they don't like laughing, maybe they don't find it funny, maybe it wasn't supposed to be. It's too serious. Again, for each their own. But he was standing near Gandalf, and he had the swarm of these armies. The armies are obviously in a massive confrontation. There's a battle going on. It's chaotic as hell. And the camera's obviously panning on those moments. They're giving them quite a bit of lengthy time so you get to see it, and it's good. And then randomly it just pans to Bilbo standing behind Gandalf with everything going on around him. It's almost like he's protected sort of thing, you know. Nothing's happening to him. He's just standing there because that's the whole point of the Hobbits is that they can be like almost invisible to everybody else. Like people just don't really notice them. So that's really what it was. And he goes, and I laughed because he said to Gandalf, he said, "Is this a good place to stand?" And I thought, what the hell? Like you're in the middle of this fight, and he says, "Is this a good place to stand?" And I just burst out laughing. It's just funny because I just thought how crazy. But again, those sort of things I think grind on the other people, so it's to each their own. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I come away feeling, and I thought this is weird because it's each trilogy is so epic. It's like Lord of the Rings will always have that special place, you know, because I think the cast are incredible, like, and the story and the way it unfolds. But it does feel long sometimes. I never once felt The Hobbit was long, and yet the duration of the movies is similar. So I find it a lot easier to watch. So it got me thinking. I thought people hate it, and yet I think personally, if I'm going to pick one of the films to watch in general, well, I'm probably going to go to The Hobbit because The Hobbit's easy to watch. I didn't feel it was heavy. So I don't understand why people hate it. It's like crazy to me. But then what it was, I was torn. I was like, do I watch The Hobbit first or should I do the Lord of the Rings based on the fact Lord of the Rings come out first? But I know full well The Hobbit was written first, the book. And a lot of people, when I was trying to look it up, they were talking more about the point of view from new people entering. But I thought I already know the Lord of the Rings story, so I don't really need to know some of the characters. So I'm only like maybe an hour into Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. I started watching the extended editions. That's 4 hours. I'd already watched some Hobbits and stuff, so I've stopped it about an hour, and I'm going to go back and watch it and finish that one. But straight away, after I'd finished the Hobbit films, and then I put Fellowship of the Ring on, for me, it was the perfect way to watch this. There's a lot of people, like I said, there's a lot of people recommending watching the Lord of the Rings trilogy before they go over to the Hobbit. But it's like, that's the wrong way around. Like, I can understand maybe because that's the way it was recorded. Like, they recorded it in that sequence, but the story isn't in that sequence. So what was beautiful about this is, like, for instance, you got the Desolation of Smog, and then he features in I think he's in the Battle of the Five Armies. I think he's in there. I'm not sure. The dragon. And there's certain things that happen in the film, and you can, and there's reference within the Hobbit. There's references towards the map, so you sort of get an idea of where these things are happening, and all those things. And then when you watch Lord of the Rings, so you watch all that, then you watch Lord of the Rings, and straight away, even in that first hour, there's references of things that had happened in the Hobbit. So you're like, oh, this is great that I just watched it because it's literally fresh in my mind. They mentioned the dragon. The dragon has been, destroyed. I thought, yeah, I just saw all that. And then they mentioned the 9 kings because they were talking about all the rings. The 9 kings, and then they mentioned the one ring to rule them all, which is the one Bilbo had found even in the Hobbit. So he found it when he was dealing with Gollum. And you're thinking, okay, so they're referencing that exact ring, and we know the extent of that. And then in the film, in The Hobbit, there was a situation where there was 9 kings that were like ghosts, they were figures, they could attack and shit. And they were obviously and then when you watch The Lord of the Rings, you're like, they've just mentioned that, and they all each had a ring. You're like, oh crap, that was them. So I personally think it's great to watch The Hobbit, because that's how the book was anyway. So watch The Hobbit first, then watch Lord of the Rings, and you're onto an epic. I think if it's your first time watching it, I'm not sure, because the original cast are iconic to the series. If you watch it the other way around, you might think the cast in the Hobbit are the main ones, when that's not really what most of us attach to the series. The only downside I would say to the Hobbit as well, because I noticed, going back to Fellowship of the Ring, for instance, was it annoys me it annoys me personally that they made Lord of the Rings before they made the Hobbit. If the Hobbit's the first in the series, why didn't they just create the Hobbit and then record? But apparently there was rights. There's separate rights or something. It was complicated, so they went with the Lord of the Rings. But the only problem is, not only is Legolas's eyes different, Gandalf, so Ian McKellen, he is visibly older. You can't change his aesthetics. I mean, they might have been able to do digitally. His eyes look older. Everything just looks older to me in The Hobbit, because naturally he is older. They recorded it after. So now going back to the Fellowship of the Ring, it's kind of strange. You look really exhausted in The Hobbit, and then you come to Fellowship of the Ring, and he looks fresh and younger. And it's like, oh, that don't match. That bit don't match. That don't match. But you can understand it. And like I said, the references to what happened in The Hobbit was really fun after you've just watched The Hobbit, And like I said, I thought the fight scenes were great. I think they covered an awful lot in terms of the different factions. And yeah, because I think it was Dark Elves and the Wood. I think they've got the Wood Elves, and then you've got the main elves at Rivendell. I love the fact that some of the cast was still there. So I can't remember his name now. I can't remember all of them, but Cate Blanchett was there, and that was interesting because that actually got me googling: is she more powerful than Saruman? I think Saruman, the White Wizard, because there was a scene when she seemed to do more. But apparently, this is where you find the lore. They go deep into the lore. Apparently, Gandalf and Saruman can't actually attack Sauron. I think their magic intertwines with him or something, so they can't actually compete against him. Whereas, is it Gladiel? I think it's the name, Gladiel. Cate Blanchett. She has different abilities, so she can actually contest him. So it's kind of strange, isn't it? It's almost like Saruman's more powerful. Apparently, that's what I was googling anyway. So apparently, Saruman's more powerful than her, but she has abilities and ways to deal with things that he can't do. So they're all both strong in their own rights. But overall power, he is more powerful from what I was getting. But again, that's the lore. You can go deep into this shit and keep unraveling. But yeah, like I say, I've read The Hobbit and love it. The Lord of the Rings, it's a bit like the films. The start in the book, it was just so heavy. I thought, oh my God, I don't think I can get my head around it. I might be better now. So I do want to try and like go through them. They're long. I think the text is really small. Let me see if I can get some out. But like I say, I do want to get the 4K thing, even though, but then the debate with that is I've already got the extended digitally. I literally that's what I'm watching. Even though I bought this Blu-ray set, which looks great, I'm thinking I want to watch this deeply, so I want to watch the extended scenes. But apparently, some of again, this is why I was doing a little bit of research. Not only does the extended scenes have scenes that weren't in the theatrical release, apparently some of the crossover scenes, I think where Gandalf goes to the Shire and he goes into Bilbo's home, apparently them scenes are actually different in the extended scene to the theatrical. So some people are saying they like to watch the theatrical just because they get the alternative scene, the scene that was in the theaters. So I find that quite curious as well. I'm not sure why they went that far. I'm not sure why. Maybe it was an alternate take, and for consistency, the scene expanded longer, I'm guessing. So maybe they had to re-record the scene to make it shorter, and that's why you get different versions. That's the only thing I can say. Yeah, it's quite small. What I might do, because I do like to do a recording series where I do my reading, and I've been thinking about doing a book of reading. I might actually, because I've done a Hobbit one already, I might try and do a Lord of the Rings one, although I think I'll get tongue-tied because they can use some funky words in the lore and things of Middle-earth. Yeah, it's great, isn't it? Here I am with my books, with my DVDs and Blu-rays. It's like, well. But I really don't want people to put people off The Hobbit, because I think that's really sad. And after watching it, like I say, after seeing it and seeing the effort everyone had put into it, I think it's so disrespectful. You know, I know we get attached to Frodo and Legolas and all the characters from the original trilogy, but people have worked really hard. Like, I love the performances throughout the films, and I can't help but think they're not getting the respect they deserve for making them. But imagine being part of that, and then it's like you've made some incredible movies, and people don't give you credit and say they were terrible. It's like, I don't know what way they're terrible. Like, honestly, I don't get it. I'd say, well, just try The Hobbit. Just try the unexpected journey. Go into it with an open mind, and you'll be surprised how good it is. I think at least give it to the end of the movie. At least let him show his vulnerabilities. Because I think Martin Freeman played it great. Again, there's only one little crossover that was a bit confusing. Again, it was within the first hour of Fellowship of the Ring. Having seen the Gollum situation in The Hobbit with Martin Freeman, which of course is recorded later. It's like so long after the trilogy of the Lord of the Rings had been recorded and released, and times move forward. But of course, back then they showed in the Fellowship of the Ring back in 2001, they showed Bilbo getting the ring where he found it in Gollum's cave, and then he's holding it and he puts it in his pocket. And of course, it's the actor that plays Bilbo within the series. They tried to make him look a bit younger. Then you watch The Hobbit, and it's the same scene, but now you got Martin Freeman doing it, and you think, oh, this is a bit. They couldn't help it. They kind of had to do it, didn't they? But it was a bit annoying that what's annoying is that they took so long to record The Hobbit that the cast is different. They needed someone younger anyway to play The Hobbit, because obviously it's so long before, and you can't make an older person look. I don't know what they can do digitally, but it'd be a bit silly, doesn't it? Trying to make the older person look incredibly young, fresh-faced. But anyway, that same scene was Martin Freeman picking up the thing, and he actually had different costume on. He's wearing different clothes and things. And they both got completely different mannerisms. And I think that was the only difference. It really is the fact that the Bilbo actors were so different in each other. Martin Freeman is a bit more neurotic, so he's got more eccentricities about him. And the one in Fellowship of the Ring, like the Lord of the Rings series, he was far more, I think, serious. And that was just the way their styles were. But I actually like both of them. I think, what, they're great. So anyway, I don't want to ramble. I probably already have rambled. It's just my pure excitement, because to be honest, at the moment, I'm so into Lord of the Rings at the moment, because I love it. I like watching Harry Potter as well, so I'm not biased towards certain shows. I've got shows I love, which is what I mean. I don't just obsess about one. I like multiples, so I don't get every aspect of lore and I don't remember every little thing. But I've literally blasted through the entire trilogy of The Hobbit, and I think each of them's like 3 hours long. It's freaking long. And then I've put the extended version of Fellowship of the Ring, like I said, and it's 4 hours nearly. I think it's 3 hours and 40 minutes. I think, Jesus. But I'm going to do them once because I don't think I've watched them all the way through since I bought them, the extended. I know there's a couple of really good scenes of Fellowship of the Ring that you don't get in it theatrical, like for instance when they walk through a swamp. And I think that makes it more, it gives it more epic feel than a theatrical release. I know they're long, but it gives you the immersion, you know, the fact that you are traversing this massive landscape. You know, you are traversing through Middle Earth. This isn't a case you've walked from the Shire and now you've just gone a little short journey. Now you're in Bree, and now it's a little short journey, and I'm over here. It's not. It's a whole slog, and every time you're moving, it's dangerous. And I think that's what the theatrical. That's what the extended release sort of gives you the sense of depredation. Really, is the fact that this is dangerous. What Frodo's doing, where he's having to try to deal with this ring, and the weight is on his shoulders. It's great. But then again, I saw. I just want to just sum up that in The Hobbit, for instance, he was reluctant to leave the Shire. He didn't want to. He didn't want to go. He was doing everything he can to stay. Then he felt obligated to help, so he's decided, I'm going to help you. And then when he gets back, when we get back to Fellowship of the Ring with the Lord of the Rings series, he's had enough of sitting at home. He's older now, but he's had enough. He wants to go on another adventure. And because you've just seen The Hobbit and you know the story to it, you know the huge adventure he just went on, you think, if someone has been through that, it probably is hard to settle into domestic life because you've had such an epic adventure. You've realised how broad life is, you know? And it's something that most people couldn't relate to. So when he says like he's had enough, he's going to go, he wants to go on another adventure, you're thinking, oh, I get it. And you know where he's come from. Whereas when you watch Lord of the Rings for the first time, you're not really understanding it specifically. So that's why I think watching Hobbit first is a great way of experiencing this, because you do get the whole background then, personally. Anyway, here I am with my Lord of the Rings set. Like I said, may get the discs as well, Blu-ray, 4K, I don't know. I'm going to probably look at some point to I might get some ornament pieces, because I like things like that, you know. I like to get memorabilia, things to have that. But I've got this, I like my gaming stuff, so before we sum up, I got that from the Fallout. And again, if you watch Fallout series on Amazon Prime, you'll recognise this, the armoured thing. T40, I think it is. I can't be sure. I'm not really good with lore and things. But yeah, I like things like that. But then I think there's a Monopoly. I think there might be a Monopoly Lord of the Rings. If there is, that's definitely something I'm going to jump into. So, yeah, I just get a bit fed up with people online tainting things for other people. Like, you know, it really threw me off a little bit, because you think, oh, I'm not going to waste my time. I don't want to ruin the image of what Lord of the Rings is. Let's just watch the trilogy and be done with it. And now it's like, no, that's incredible. Now I've got like 6 films. It's on a grand scale. I mean, you look at Harry Potter. I think Harry Potter was 8 films? 8, 9, 10? I don't know. I think it's 8 films on Harry Potter, if I'm right. I don't know. But we've got 6 on Lord of the Rings, and they're all longer. At least I think they're longer. Both great fantasy series. I mean, I love the Harry Potter series as well, to be totally honest. But I think out of push up for Lord of the Rings. Yeah. But I like Fantastic Beasts as well, so I really like that. So I think both have, between the lot, so much magic. Anyway, that's me on my little rambling tangent. I would like to have included video somehow, but, you know, you can get copyrighted strikes. I get a bit fed up of all that nonsense. So, you know, people can look for themselves for trailers and things like that. That might be a good way to do it, actually. Go and check some trailers out for The Hobbit, and you'll see what I mean by his little mannerisms. But I think you have to detach from the first series. I think that's where you've got to go. If you go in comparing everything, you're comparing Bilbo to Frodo, for instance, and you're comparing, you know, Aragorn. There's no Aragorn. Oh, it's like they'll appear later. Just give everybody else the chance to show themselves and who they are as characters, you know. And I thought the dwarves were great. Yeah, I thought I liked it. I liked it. Anyway, that's my take on Lord of the Rings.